Good afternoon, and you're really welcome to this episode of Ask Me Anything. Now, Chris asked me about her cold hands, her cold feet, and her very swollen lower legs. Now, Chris, you've got quite a few things going on for you. You've got type 2 diabetes, fibromyalgia, you're a celiac, and you have a lot of allergies, including asthma. So you've got a lot going on there. And I'm going to really address those with an acupressure point, with foods to avoid, with foods that you want to include in your diet, and a qigong move. But I would really recommend, as ever, that my information is complementary to your already existing healthcare practitioner. So as ever, check with your healthcare practitioner as to whether what I offer here suits you. So let's get started. So cold hands and feet, I've talked about that before in regards to chilblains and Raynaud's, when the blood vessels don't allow the blood to go to the tips of the fingers. And that would generally be a heart issue. So we recommended rosemary oil and other kind of bitter herbs to increase the circulation to the tips of the fingers. But because you've got a lot of spleen issues going on, which would be manifesting as the type 2 diabetes, which when it's low then doesn't support the lung energy, which gives you the allergies, the asthma, and the celiac, which is related to the large intestine, the partner organ of the lung. I'm going to talk about this in terms of supporting your spleen energy and managing the diabetes, which I feel really in turn will support the lung energy and help with your asthma and your allergies. But like I said before, always check with your medical healthcare practitioner. So what do we mean when you have a weak spleen? Well, weak spleen means that it's not able to transform and uptake the nutrients that you receive. The food that you eat goes into your stomach, it's digested, and that's where it's transformed, and then it's taken onto the spleen. And in Chinese medicine, spleen is spleen, pancreas, duodenum. And from there, the nutrients are uptaken, they are taken up into the body and transported around so that we can actually receive the energy from the food. So we need to transform it and transport it. But if the spleen and the stomach, because they're the partner organs of the earth element, if they are low in energy, then you can find that the food just sits there. It doesn't get digested. And a little bit like a damp log, it's very hard for the fires of the stomach to burn and really transform the food. So what we want to do is we want to release the dampness from this kind of damp log, the dampness that then can occur in the body. And we want to ignite the stomach fires and the spleen fires so that they warm everything up and move the energy better around the body. So I'm going to start with things to avoid. So if you have dampness in the body, and that can occur in the stomach, so you'll know that your digestion isn't working properly, but you also might get swelling around the hands and the feet. This kind of swelling is slightly different to gout, which tends to accumulate around the joint. This will be kind of like a heavy puffiness that will go around the limbs themselves. The earth element is related to the muscle tone. So if you suffer from a lot of prolapse, you don't have the energy to hold everything up, then this would also say a weak stomach spleen. If you find, as what happens with diabetes, you can bruise easily, the blood is not being held in the blood vessels. We're talking about holding things up so that they can be transformed and transported. You might also think about this in terms of an emotional capacity of holding. The earth element linked to the stomach and the spleen is related to the mother earth. So this kind of holding. So have a look in your life. Where do you actually get this holding ability? Who holds you? What resources do you have in your life to give you that support? So that's the emotional context. So things that you want to avoid that cause damp in the body would be cold food. So don't eat food that's straight out of the fridge. Eat it at warm room temperature. Stay away from cold drinks. We don't want to further put out the fire of the digestive juices and the digestive energies. We want to keep it nice and warm. So avoid ice in your drinks. Also, like I said, we want to kind of warm and help these digestive juices. So warming pungent foods. So they would include things like ginger tea, ginger, turmeric, also say cinnamon, that earthy brown color. Turmeric itself is also a very orangey brown color. So have a look at the 5-element wheel from my book and you'll see all the foods that support that earth element. And so what you want to avoid is actually also eating too much. So you don't want to put out the fires by overeating. And when you do have something to eat, the best thing to do is also do a little bit of exercise. This will really help to generate the energy in the body to help the digestion and the metabolism of what you have just eaten. So make sure that for at least kind of like 5 or 10 minutes after you've eaten, you don't just go and sit on the sofa and you watch the telly. Do a little bit of movement. Best thing to do is a little bit of qigong, and at the end of this video you can see I'm going to give you a very simple and short routine for really helping to move the blood and the lymph from the lower limbs of the body. So even if you do a 5 or 10 minute little qigong routine every day after eating, that's really going to benefit your stomach and spleen, help with the diabetes, and this energy then will feed up to the lungs so you can open and breathe better. Other foods to avoid would be peanuts. Peanuts are very damp forming. They're full of lots of oils and quite heavy fats, and these congest the liver. So some of the other things you want to avoid would be fried food. So stay away from your deep fried fish, your chips, your sausages, those kind of heavily fatty, oily dishes. Stay away from those. Also stay away from ice cream, because that is dairy, so stay away from your cheeses and your heavy creams and also your ice cream. Damp forming, like I said, is caused by eating too much cold food. So if you mix cold with dairy and get ice cream, you're really going to congest the liver. That's really going to impact the spleen, and you're not going to be able to have digestive enzymes produced to transform the food that you eat, and it's going to stick and stay heavy. You might phone, I don't know you particularly at all, actually, I don't know you. So I don't know if you're overweight or not, or carrying a lot of adipose tissue, but I would perhaps say that you were. So you want to avoid liver stagnating foods. So they would be deep fat, fried, heavy foods. Also coffee and alcohol. Alcohol, as we know, affects the liver. Coffee affects the kidneys. It gives you a boost of energy, but then it actually depletes the kidney energy. So avoiding alcohol and coffee would be a really good thing to do also if you want to improve the circulation in your lower limbs and strengthen your stomach and spleen energy. Fruit juices. I know everybody's kind of like, oh, fruit juices are so healthy, but actually fruit juices you want to avoid if you have type 2 diabetes or any intestinal problems. Because what are you doing when you juice the fruit? you're taking away the fiber. And it's the fiber that makes things really complex, and they have a slow metabolic rate. So we need to slow down those kind of sugar spikes. And fruit juices, with their simple sugars, get absorbed into the bloodstream very quickly and spike your sugar. So avoid fruit juices. And I would say actually avoid any kind of cold food up until 11 o'clock in the morning. 7 till 9 is the time of the stomach. 9 till 11 is the time of the spleen. Make sure you've had a good protein-rich breakfast by then. Plenty of eggs, seeds, nuts, avocados. All of these are really, really good, dense protein foods for you to have for your breakfast. Avoid simple sugars. Avoid, like I said, your fruit juices. If you want to have a smoothie, have it later in the day. Avoid the cold food between 7 and 11. In general, really, if you want to improve your diabetes, your breathing and your allergies, avoid refined sugar and avoid refined carbs. So that means cutting out the pizza, the cakes, the biscuits, anything with refined sugar. Go for the natural sugars that are in whole fruits. Eat plenty of prunes, figs, dates, mango, but in all of those, don't eat too much. You'll overwhelm the body. So you want to have nice complex carbohydrates like brown rice, your beans, chickpeas. You want to have plenty of complex carbohydrates. So chuck out the quick and easy foods. You want to have tins are fine. You can open a tin and chuck those into your stew, into your chilies, into your, what else would you cook? Stew, chili, even dal. Dal is fantastic. Lentils, kidney beans, chickpeas, all of those. Include those in your diet and push out your refined carbs and your refined sugars. As I said, also, dal is fantastic because it's those warming spices that are really going to benefit the stomach and spleen, aid digestion, and help in some cases to reverse your type 2 diabetes. So some of the things to add in are cloves, black pepper, cinnamon, mustard, thyme, turmeric, garlic, onions, shallots, horseradish, turnips and radish. So when I say all of those things, what do they taste like? They all taste mildly spicy and pungent, and that helps to move the energy to the outside, helps to bring on a slight sweat, and it gets all those digestive juices moving. And when we're talking about moving energy, because that's what you want, the energy has become stuck around your lower legs, I'm going to show you a great acupressure point for moving blood and energy. And I think this is going to be really good for you. But if you are pregnant, don't do this point. It's so strong that we avoid this point during pregnancy because you don't want to move the blood or the energy. So let's go for spleen 6. Spleen 6, what I want you to do is find your foot, quite easy to find your foot, and 4 fingers. 4 fingers above the ankle bone. In the midline of your calf is spleen 6. And what I want you to do, how to press a point, just press and connect. It might feel a little sore. I want you to press and connect. Sometimes the points feel very empty. Sometimes they feel very stuck. Remember that this is your body and it's talking to you. So you want to talk to your body. Press and hold. You can also massage and rub. You can rub the whole of the inside of the foot. This spleen 1 starts at the inside of the toe. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So rub the whole of the foot. You've got 2 feet. Let's do it on the other side. So finding your ankle bone, about 4 fingers above your ankle bone on the midline. So I'm not on the bone, I'm not on the front, I'm not on the bone. I'm just behind that in the fleshy part. Because do you remember what I said about the spleen? It's about the flesh of the body, the tone of the body, the upkeep. So if you've got lots of kind of flabby, untoned skin, little bit of exercise, that's really going to help the metabolism and your stomach and spleen. So I'm pressing, I'm connecting, I'm feeling that disperse, and I'm smiling into the point, and feel the point smile back at you. I know I'm going to have loads of comments now going, ow, ow, ow. That isn't a very smiley point. I know, but do it regularly and consistently and you'll notice a difference. You can't just do it once and expect to change. These conditions, like type 2 diabetes, have taken time to arrive. So they're going to take time also to say goodbye to. Let's have a little rub of that whole spleen meridian. Now, so some of these flavors, I've got a great blog. If you go looking on my website for tea, anti-inflammatory tea, and that has the cinnamon for the spleen. It has the lemon for the lung. It has the ginger, the pungency of the ginger, also for the lung and the spleen. All sorts of ingredients in there. So go and have a look for the anti-inflammatory tea on my blog. And in my books, I think a recipe that would really suit you is the beetroot marmalade. Beetroot is really good. It helps the body produce nitrous oxide. And this in the body helps the blood vessels and those very small capillaries open up. So when I tune into you, Chris, I really feel that a bit of beetroot wouldn't go amiss in your diet. So you can get my books and learn how to make the beetroot marmalade. Really super simple, a little tangy, a little sweet. Or just simply grate it and use it sprinkled on your eggs and avocado in the morning. It's going to be really good for helping those small capillaries open and letting the blood flow. There's a lot of information to unpack in this video, so why not take a break and now follow the Qigong that I'm going to show you for increasing circulation through your toes, your feet, your ankle and your knees. Help to drain the lymph and move the blood and Qi. Good morning, you're really welcome to this Qi Flow Nugget for sit but don't sit, and also pendulum swing. This is going to be really good for lymph drainage and also if you have puffy, swollen ankles and lower legs. Also really good for balance and a very simple and easy way to start your Qigong routine. As with ever, if you do have lots of swelling around your ankle and your feet, please go and see your healthcare professional. But right now, let's see what we can do ourselves to help ourselves every day. So first of all, start with your feet hip width apart. What I want you to do is just lean forwards and lean backwards. Okay, so slightly leaning forwards right into your toes, and then leaning backwards. In this way, we're really starting to engage the core. Yeah, this lower dantian. We have 3 dantians, lower, middle and upper, and we want to be down here. So we're really engaging the core by just finding our balance. And now shift to the left and shift to the right. So we're really getting a sense of our central core. And now come back to center so you can feel that you've got a whole kind of energy space around you and you're right in that central core. And what I want you to do now is just raise the heels. Imagine you're being pulled up the top of your head and drop down. Pull up from the top of your head so your chin is slightly into chest, tailbone slightly tucked under and down. And now we're going to come up, and this time we're going to drop down. This is called heel drop. Inhale up and drop. It's part of the 8 brocades, which is almost 2,000 years old. And drop. And this one is really good for bone density and also lymph massage along the backs of the legs, getting the heart to pump the lymph, well, the blood back up to the heart, getting the blood to pump it back up to the heart. There is no pump for the lymph, so we have to do that ourselves. So inhale up, exhale down. One more time, inhale up and exhale, drop. Turn to the side. I'm going to turn to the side because I'm going to demonstrate what I'm going to do next. I'm going to inhale, arms are going to rise up and then float down. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale, let the arms float down. And this time, as I inhale, again from the top of the head, I'm going to feel like I'm going to be drawn up. And then I'm going to sink down and I'm going to sit but don't sit. Okay, so you can see that my bum is slightly coming down. And then I'm going to return to center. Inhale, feel the top of my head being pulled up. Exhale, sink down, slight bend in the knees as if you're going to sit down, but you don't. Inhale up, exhale down. This is really good if you've got stiff ankles. You've got to start slowly if you're very immobile, but you can always start somewhere. If it's not easy for you to balance, then you can just come up, leaving your heels on the ground and sink and sit. You don't have to come very far, but what you'll find is you keep going, and I'm going to explain it to you. You keep going. You've got, in Chinese medicine, you've got 3 hearts, and these 3 hearts in the legs help to pump the blood back up to the heart. So are you ready? Let's go. Let's keep going. Inhale up, sit but don't sit. And again. Sit but don't sit. Maybe you can feel your heart beginning to pump a little bit more. So do a few repetitions of sit but don't sit, and then we're going to come into pendulum swing. Now, pendulum swing is a really easy and simple one for really moving the lymph. Like I said, we don't have a pump, a circulatory pump for the lymph. We have to do that ourselves. So inhale, let's make this the last sit but don't sit, and come back to center. We'll just do a little connect heaven and earth, which means you inhale, arms come up, and then we exhale down. Imagine we're squishing the energy down through the head, through the heart, always coming down to that lower energy center. I'm going to demonstrate it for you and then I'll break it down. It's really simple. That's it. That's it. That's your pendulum swing. And this is one of the most effective exercises that you can start to do today. It's going to move the lymph. It's going to move the heart, especially through the lymph nodes in the armpits here and in the back of the legs and the groin here. Really effective. Let's give it a go. First thing, all we do is inhale, arms come up. Make sure they don't come up above the shoulders. You want them to just shoulder height. And it would be a mistake to let the arms lead this. Imagine it's coming from your lower belly and that energy is then coming up. And then let them go. And you'll find that they naturally just come back up to shoulder height. But I want it to be effortless for you. Make it effortless. Inhale up, exhale. Make sure you don't hyperventilate. And you can do this one sitting on the chair. You keep going, and I'm going to get a chair and demonstrate. I do find stools are very good for Qigong, but in the meantime, we have a chair. And if you want to do it on the chair, you can improve. If you don't have a lot of mobility through the knees, you can just inhale, raise the heels, exhale. Make sure not to speed up. Keep going. Nothing else you need to do. Just hang out and pendulum swing. I would say do this for a few minutes every morning and you're going to notice the difference in your energy. And then come join me, Chi Flow with Jo, where we do Qigong every morning, changing up your energy, starting your day right. And let it fall away. Inhale, let's connect heaven and earth. Exhale, squeeze the energy down. One more. Inhale, imagine your energy expanding to the tips of your fingers. And then exhaling that you're squishing it down. Forehead, throat, chest, abdomen. Store it in the lower abdomen. You can bring palm over palm, make a spiral. Change direction, spiral it in the other way. Always we bring the energy back down to the lower dantian because it's exhausting if we live in the heart or live in the head. It's great to come up and visit, connect and be compassionate. Take the energy back down. Come up, have thoughts, work out problems, create things. Bring it down to the lower dantian. This is your power source. It's like your battery pack. So be careful where you spend your energy. May you be happy and may you be well. May I be happy, may I be well, and may all beings everywhere be happy, safe and well. Have a beautiful chi-filled day. May you be happy and may you be well. Have a chi-filled day. And remember, if you're watching this and you've enjoyed the content, press subscribe. And if you've got a question, you can ask me anything too.